No. So Michael Che came up with this joke, and then Israelis, a lot of people in defense of Israel's government came and said, this is not accurate. Look, Israel is actually vaccinating its Arab citizens the same way it's doing every other citizen. And then people responded, well, no, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the Palestinians. And then in response to that, the health minister, Israel health minister said, hold on. Oh, he likened his obligation to vaccinate Palestinians to Palestinians' responsibility to care for dolphins in the Mediterranean.
Wait, say that again?
So Israeli health minister likened his obligation to vaccinate Palestinians to Palestinians' responsibility to care for dolphins in the Mediterranean.
Okay. Well, that just makes the whole thing look so much better.
Yeah. So here's the thing: when a lot of people say one of the most common anti-Semitic tropes is I don't know why this is seen worse than other things. Maybe there's a logic to it, but dehumanization is something that keeps coming up, right? Especially when it comes to back in World War II under Germany, comparing the Jews to, I don't even know if I should say it, because I don't know if I could get in trouble just for saying it. But it's certain animals, right? And that usually when you cross that line, I genuinely don't know if that's worse than other forms of racism, because, but that's seen by society as you crossing a line that you shouldn't be crossing at all, right? So this, if it was said against, this was supposed to, I don't know if this is a joke or not. Like apparently it's supposed to be a joke, even if you don't find it funny. I think that was the intention. But this joke didn't get the backlash than the original joke, like the joke about that everybody's talking about. What's the comedian's name? You're muted.
Comedian's name is Michael Che, but
Michael.
It's a really important distinction. People say this, they're like, well, Michael Che said it. Michael Che is a comedian on Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live, where they have Drunk Uncle on. Well, they used to. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Right.
We're talking right now about a statement from the Israeli health minister.
Yeah, that proves my point, because this should have gotten more of a reaction compared to the comedian. The comedian is a comedian. I thought the comedians get more leeway with what they get to say, right? I mean, this was a joke that didn't get any of the backlash. Maybe none of them should get the backlash. Maybe people should be able to joke. I don't know, but I just think there's a double standard here, right? You have the health minister make joking like this, right, about the Palestinians getting disease and nobody helping them, right? Even though it's under the Geneva Convention that you should. I mean, dolphins are not protected under any Geneva Conventions or not, right? We don't have, that's not under internet. Comparing the Palestinians to dolphins, I think if the Jews were compared to any animals in any joke in any way, the backlash would have been so massive, right? So the fact that the health minister comes and compares the Palestinians to an animal and to joke about their responsibility to them, and that not getting a backlash, to me shows that there's a global bias about who gets to say what, So what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. This is one thing I just want to get clear here. When we talk about Israelis and Palestinians, when we're talking about Israelis, as you said, there is the Netanyahu government, okay, which has roughly the support of 50% of the population. As you know, he's been struggling, just barely managing to get elected, and had to have repeat elections because he couldn't form coalitions. So there is a sizable chunk of Israel that does not support Netanyahu. Then there are Arab Israelis. There are other. I mean, Israel is not just, when we talk about pro-Israeli or anti-Israeli. It's just it's a bad concept, right?
Yeah.
You have an outlet like Haaretz that comes out of Israel, and you also have all these conservative right-wing Israeli papers, right? So there's that. There's already, you've got the West Bank settlers, they're Israeli citizens, and they have conflicts even with the most conservative people in the Knesset, in the Israeli government. And the same thing with the Palestinians. You know, when you say this stuff about compare them to dolphins, or how Avigdor Lieberman said that they should be, you know, thrown into the sea. You know, and Avigdor Lieberman used to be a foreign minister at one point. I mean, he said this many years ago. So when you talk about it, what you're saying, the word dehumanization. That's right. When you start thinking of I mean, there are kids there. There's Palestinian kids. There's Palestinian secular people. There's Palestinian people who have all kinds of different opinions, right? There are Palestinian people who are very, very religious and Islamist, and they vote for Hamas because they want because they believe in the jihad. And then there are even more people in Gaza who vote for Hamas because Hamas gives them money, gives them social services, and they don't have any other option. There's a corrupt Fatah government, which is secular, and some people support that. It's all very heterogeneous. You cannot say that you have Palestinians, dolphins.
Yeah, even though Palestinians and like, okay, so there's a huge difference between like, you could be anti Netanyahu because you're pro Israel, right?
Yeah, you should be actually.
Yeah, you could be anti Hamas because you're pro Palestinian.
Because you're pro Palestinian.
And you could even acknowledge that, especially in the Gaza Strip. Okay, here's the thing: like the average view of people in Gaza Strip is too radical even for the Palestinians in West Bank. Okay, like some Palestinians from West Bank think like the Gaza Strip people are like, oof, like that's some insane, like those be radicals.
Conflict for so long. The West Bank.
Yeah, no, but you could acknowledge that the views that people have in the Gaza Strip are on average worse than most Islamic countries. Okay, like it's really bad, like the views that people there have, right? But that doesn't mean that you're not gonna fight for their human rights. Like these are not a contradiction. Like people sometimes when you see like the statistics of what the views of people are in Gaza Strips are, some people are like, you know what, screw them. They deserve like this and this and that. Like no, it doesn't work like that. I mean, you also have to understand that why is there a difference? Why is there a giant difference between the views of people in the Gaza Strip and West Bank, right? Well, because of the conditions that they raise it, like the environment. You have to take environmental factor into into account. And I mean, saying people are a product of their environment is not a way for us to dismiss the responsibility of people for having such heinous views. But but you should still acknowledge it, right? Like these are not contradictions. You can acknowledge the impact of the environment without excusing it.
Yeah.
You could fight for their human rights without defending their horrible views. And these things be complicated, right? Anybody that is trying to make it a black and white picture for you is just trying to, be like, you be on my side, and everybody who disagrees, you must be like a pro apartheid or like racist person if you disagree with me, or the other person like, oh, you're just excusing Islamic jihad on the other side. Like, it's just like it's easier to just put people in camps and just decide you're not in my camp, so you're on the other side and you're the enemy. Like, it's just easy and lazy.
Hey guys, if you want to join these streams live, get your comments and questions read by Ali and Armin and the guests, and most importantly, to get full access to the full video versions of all these episodes, become a patron. Link in the description below.